Morning, everyone. Meteorologist Bill Rentschler in the 1011 Now streaming studio. Hope everyone's having a nice Tuesday morning. It's a little bit of a hot start to our work week. Yesterday had temperatures well into the 90s across much of the state, including here in Lincoln, and it looks like we're going to do more of the same as we head at least into the day today. But over the next couple days, both short, mid, and kind of long-range outlooks continue to have some of the above-average temperatures sticking around for us as we head over the next week to 10 days or so. So we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Also now have Tropical Storm Francine that looks like it's going to be impacting the Gulf Coast, particularly down across parts of southeast Texas and the Louisiana coast, and potentially making landfall as a hurricane sometime tomorrow, potentially high-end Category 1 or low-end Category 2 hurricane. Going to talk about that, and then potential rain chances again in Lincoln and for many areas across the state. We haven't had any measurable moisture so far this month. This is coming on the heels of again an already very dry August for many locations, and again nothing so far through basically the first third of the month of September, and again potentially going to extend that as we head over the course of the next week. So again, plenty of things to talk about here again as we go over the forecast both locally, regionally, and again look at some of the national headlines over the next 15 or so minutes. Again, starting off with though a look at the high temperatures in Lincoln. Again, yesterday we topped out at 92. That's tied for the warmest temperature we've seen so far this month in Lincoln, both yesterday and again you go back to last week on Wednesday, 92 degrees, but again still more below average high temperatures this month than above average high temperatures, at least for now. Again, as we continue to go through this week, we're going to continue to fill this calendar in with some more red boxes as we continue to see above average temperatures. And in fact, it wouldn't surprise me if we reeled off maybe 7, 8, 9 days in a row with those above average high temperatures here in the capital city. And again, I already mentioned it, but nothing measurable, at least in terms of rainfall through the first 9 days of the month. A trace of moisture last Friday in the capital city, but normally, again, this would have been through yesterday's date, but normally through the 9th, we'd be right around an inch of moisture is the average for us here in Lincoln for September. And again, nothing. So we're already an inch below average. And again, if you look at the almanac for the year, we had seen we had been above average in terms of our precipitation, especially thanks to a very wet July, but things have kind of become a little stagnant for us. Let me see if I can punch up the almanac to see exactly the year-to-date departure. And it looks like, let's see here, climate report for the year. We're now below normal, so we're 0.04 of an inch below normal for our precipitation for the year. We've had 22 3/4 of an inch of precipitation since January 1st. Normal is 22.8, so again falling below average. This time last year though we were at right around 18.5, so doing better than we were last year, but again falling below normal thanks to a very dry August and again a very dry start to the month of September. In terms of high temperatures yesterday, again here in town, again the Tempest weather stations, it was upper 80s, low 90s. Again, 1011 News here at 40th and Vine, we got up to 93 degrees. I got to 88 at my house. My parents' house also got to 88 degrees, but upper 80s, low 90s for much of the Lincoln metro. Officially at the airport, it hit 92 degrees yesterday. State high temperature, at least tying for the state high temperature. Several locations, 98 in Chadron, Scottsbluff, and Sydney. It was 97 in Alliance, Ogallala, and Imperial. But again, not much humidity out there, so it was, again, a fairly dry heat for most locations, so that is the saving grace. At least didn't have to deal with those high humidities and correspondingly high feels-like temperatures. But warm day out there. These numbers are well above average for this time of year. Normal high temperature again in Lincoln is now in the low 80s, and again low 80s for most of the state for those average high temperatures. So these numbers are a good 10 to 15 degrees above normal for most locations. So your weather headlines again, I didn't even change these from what I put on yesterday. Again, still looking at hot and breezy breezy weather through much of the upcoming work week. Cooler, in quotations, for the weekend, but still above average. And then still potentially watching for maybe some signs of a little bit of a pattern change to more maybe active, wetter weather as we look in the long-term forecast and kind of that 10 to 14-day time frame. So that would be late next week, potentially into the following weekend. So, again, that's something we're going to continue to watch. Right now, 9:08 in Lincoln, 69 at the airport, 68 here in Midtown Lincoln. Some clouds off there in the distance. Also going to be dealing with some hazy skies at times as we head through the day today and into the day tomorrow as some smoke filters through the area. Again, it's going to remain mainly aloft. We'll look at it here in just a second. But, again, we are going to be dealing with that. Current temperatures right now in the Lincoln Metro are generally in the middle to upper 60s, again to right around 70 degrees. Statewide temperatures, 60s and low 70s right now. Ainsworth, one of the warm spots there at 74 degrees. It's 73 in Norfolk, 68 in Columbus, 72 in Grand Island, and 69 in North Platte. Dew point temperatures continue to remain in that dry to comfortable category, but with these lower dew point temperatures, we do have some showers that are currently on the board that we'll see on the radar and satellite picture here in just a second, but a lot of that is remaining aloft as that rain is evaporating before it hits the ground because of the dry air that's currently at the surface. So we'll look at that in just a second. That dew point trend you can see over the past few days, dew points have been fairly comfortable. Look to stay that way as we head over the next couple days, but we will see an increase in our humidity and our dew points as we head through the day on Friday and into the weekend. So turning a little bit muggy, or maybe we'll call it seasonably muggy, as we head into the weekend and into early next week. So that's something we'll continue to watch as well. Winds, again, they're going to be a bit blustery, breezy at times today, out of the south for most. Right now at about 8 to 18 miles an hour. You can see there is a weak boundary that is pushing across the western third of the state, so they have more westerly or southwesterly winds. Again, that trough axis, weakening cold front, whatever you want to call it, is trying to spark off a few showers early this morning, but again, dry air at the surface, not much of that moisture is actually reaching the ground. So here is the satellite and radar picture. Again, you can see some of the returns that we do have showing up there on the radar. Not many, if any, locations are actually reporting moisture hitting the ground at this time. Actually, I'm going to punch up and see exactly if anyone. North Platte is reporting some light rain, and that is the only location, observation station right now across the state that is reporting any moisture. So just a little bit of light rain in North Platte. So again, as this activity kind of drifts through the area, maybe a passing sprinkle or two, passing light rain shower, but otherwise most areas, again, likely going to be staying dry as we head through the day today. If you look at the visible satellite imagery, again, you can see some of the vertical development in some of those showers on the visible satellite imagery. So again, there is some more robust shower activity in there, but again, dry air at the surface kind of limiting that potential when it comes to that rainfall actually reaching the ground. If we zoom out and look at, again, the country as a whole, on the visible satellite imagery, you can again see it looks kind of just dirty across parts of the northwestern corner of the country. Again, that's some of that smoke that we see aloft in the air early this morning. That's going to continue to drift through the area. Also, if you look down across the Gulf, we can see Tropical Storm Francine. Again, slightly disorganized when you look at it on the visible satellite imagery, but again, she is strengthening and is forecast to continue to strengthen as we head over the next day or so before it makes landfall. So that is something, again, we'll keep a close eye on. So again, back to the satellite and radar picture. If we zoom out, look at a regional view, again, for us, again, fairly quiet. You zoom out, look at a national view, again, and obviously the main feature that we're going to keep an eye on is Francine, again, zooming in down here on the Gulf Coast. The eye, or center of that storm, is currently just to the south and east of Brownsville, again, down in very as far as south as Texas goes there, and again, almost due south of the Houston area. So again, this is going to continue to drift to the north and northeast slowly as we head over the next 24 or so hours, but we can already see some of the outer bands of rainfall impacting the coastal areas from Louisiana down through the southeast Texas coast. And so here in Nebraska, while we may see some upper-level cirrus bands from Francine as she moves inland, unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to get any of the moisture from Francine. Again, we could definitely use it, but it doesn't look like that's going to be in the cards for us. So if we check out the tropical tracker, again, current stats on Francine, tropical storm force right now, moving north at 5 miles an hour, winds sustained at 65 miles an hour with gusts up to 75 miles an hour. And again, remember that's the strongest or peak winds right around the eye of Francine. Those winds do weaken as you move out away from the center. You can also see some of those tropical storm watches, warnings, and hurricane warnings that are along the coastal areas from Mexico through the southeast coastline from southeast Texas over towards Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. So as we head between now and over the course of the next 24 hours, forecast to strengthen. And then by Wednesday, noon hour, right now the National Hurricane Center has Francine strengthening to a Category 2 hurricane just before it makes landfall. And right now landfall looks like it could come right there in the central Louisiana coastal areas. Again, right around Wednesday early to mid-afternoon. So again, this is a storm that those folks down there are certainly going to be watching closely. Again, you may think Category 2, no big deal, whatever. But again, these are coastal areas, wetland areas, and again, these tropical systems always drop a whole bunch of rain. You're going to be dealing with storm surge, and again, potential for some severe weather mixed in there as well. So again, if you have friends or family down in that area, I'd certainly be thinking about them over the next couple days. Again, a lot of weather going to be heading their way as we head through the upcoming work week. So potentially making landfall Wednesday afternoon, and then as a hurricane, potentially Category 2 hurricane, and then moving almost due north inland, kind of right along the Mississippi River. Again, so folks across parts of, again, Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, even in Missouri and Illinois, going to be dealing with some remnant tropical moisture from this system as we head through the middle and end of the work week. And again, here in Nebraska, don't think we're going to see any moisture from this tropical system, but we may see some, again, upper-level cirrus kind of drift thrown our way from this system by late this week and potentially into the weekend. So, again, we're going to continue to keep a close eye on that system as we head over the next couple days. Weather alerts, as you look across the country, again, we can see the tropical alerts down across the southeast. Also have red flag warnings, fire weather watches across parts of Utah, Nevada, Arizona. Air quality alerts also in place across parts of Oregon, Idaho, Wyoming, again, from some of that smoke that we're going to be dealing with, some heat advisories in South Florida there. But again, overall, much is pretty quiet across the middle and eastern sections of the country. If you check out the Skycast, again, as we head through the day today, we're going to continue to watch for some of those isolated showers out there, again, drifting through the area. I think a lot of us likely stay dry through most of the day with partly sunny skies, dealing with a mix of sun and clouds as we head through the morning. As we head through the afternoon, I think a little bit more sunshine. I'd say mostly sunny skies for most locations as we head through the late afternoon and early evening time frame. Also going to be dealing with dry conditions. Again, it's going to be hot. It's going to be a little bit on the breezy side with those winds generally out of the south. And as we head tonight into the day on Wednesday, we'll drop the little weak front moving through. So, again, I think we see more sunshine through the day on Wednesday. Also, generally looking at dry weather. Again, those breezy south winds continuing to keep things on the warm side. But, again, not dealing with high humidities or high dew points. So that is some good news there. And then as we head Wednesday into Thursday, again, if you keep an eye down across the southeast, we can start to see the remnants of what will likely be Hurricane Francine beginning to push northward. So, again, this is Thursday morning at 7 a.m. Across parts of Tennessee, Arkansas, again, Louisiana, Mississippi, dealing with some areas of heavy rain as that tropical moisture continues to surge northward. By Thursday afternoon, again, we may see some cirrus, upper-level cloud cover thrown our way from that tropical system, but unfortunately, again, like I mentioned, not going to see any of the moisture, very beneficial moisture that we could potentially see from that system. I mentioned it already a couple times, but smoke is going to be something we're going to watch for over the next 24 to 48 hours. This is the vertically integrated smoke product from the rapid refresh model. So this is looking at the entirety of the atmosphere from the surface all the way up and measuring how much smoke is currently in the atmosphere. So again, you can see some really high levels across much of the northern plains and then as you head across the parts of the northwest. The thing is, keep in mind, again, especially for us in Nebraska and likely for good portion of the Dakotas, most of this smoke is likely going to be aloft in the atmosphere, and that would lead to some hazy conditions, but no necessarily impacts at the surface. Again, if you're sensitive to the smoke, to those particulates in the atmosphere, I don't think this is going to be overly burdensome for you. But you may notice the hazy skies at times as we head through the day today, and then as we head into the day tomorrow. We're going to continue to see that smoke drift through the region. At times, we could see it try and mix down to the surface. Again, I don't think we're going to be dealing with widespread issues with smoky conditions at the surface, but it is something we will watch for. And again, it's that time of the year, that time of the season, again, when we're dealing with some of that wildfire smoke. As far as severe weather is concerned, again, there is a marginal risk across extreme southern Louisiana for the day today, again, with Francine beginning to move towards the area. Again, with hurricanes come tornadoes. Again, a lot of rotation in the atmosphere, and so they will watch for the potential for some severe weather down in those areas, but otherwise across our neck of the woods, not expecting any severe weather for the day today. For the day on Wednesday, there is a marginal risk across parts of Oregon, Idaho, Montana, and the western Dakotas. And then for the day on Thursday, across parts of eastern Montana into the western Dakotas, there is a marginal risk for severe weather, as well as a marginal risk for severe weather down across parts of, again, Mississippi, Alabama, again with Francine moving on shore. As far as the precipitation potential over the next week, again, you can see most of the moisture over the course of the next week is going to be bottled up down with Francine. Again, so along the Texas coast, Louisiana coast, they could be seeing upwards of 5, 6, 7 inches of rain. And then as Francine moves inland, again, kind of right over the Mississippi River, I keep wanting to call it the Missouri River, the Mississippi River, they could be seeing 2, 3, 4, 5 inches of rain in some of those areas. Again, you can see some of that remnant moisture from Francine making it as far north as potentially St. Louis in those areas. But again, here at home, unfortunately, you can see it is basically nothing for the eastern half of the state, and very little, if any, for the western half of the state as we head through the course of the next 7 days. So again, I mentioned it, but we haven't seen any measurable moisture in Lincoln through the first 9 days of the month. I doubt we see any today. We have had a trace officially in the books, but we could potentially go another week with no measurable moisture here in the capital city. We're keeping an eye, at least, on some of our driest Septembers on record, because that's just what we do in the Weather Center. Officially, the driest September on record for Lincoln was back in 1894 when we went the entire month without a trace, without any measurable moisture. And so right now, again, we're hopefully not going to be in that discussion in the next 2 to 2.5 weeks, but it is, again, something we're at least keeping an eye on. Again, the long-range forecast continues to try and say that there might be a pattern change. Might see some more active weather coming our way, but that is something we're going to continue to watch. I'm going to try and punch up here and see what our driest starts. So if we go through the first 9 days of the month, so there have been 13 Septembers, September 1st through September 9th, when we've had no moisture, not even a trace. So again, right now, we would say we're tied for the 14th driest September through the first 9 days of the month with just a trace of moisture here in the capital city. So turning to temperatures, highs today, again, going to be another hot day, above average temperatures. Highs generally in the lower to middle 90s across much of the state, maybe a degree or two cooler across the far west. Again, yesterday the state high was 98 for Chadron, Scottsbluff, and Sydney. Maybe a degree or two cooler than that today for those areas, but again, still hot, above average temperatures for our Tuesday afternoon. Wednesday morning, low temperatures, upper 50s to low 60s across most of the state. High temperatures on Wednesday, again, maybe a few degrees cooler, but these are still above average. Upper 80s to lower to middle 90s across the state. Thursday morning, low temperatures, again, mid-50s to low 60s, and then Thursday afternoon temperatures noticeably cooler, especially for the western sections of the state, but we're still in the upper 80s to right around 90 degrees across much of the state. And again, those numbers still about 5 to 10 degrees above average for this time of year. Extended forecast in Lincoln looks like this, staying in the low 90s Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, right around 90 on Friday. We'll say 89, though, and again, staying breezy through that time. Those winds out generally out of the south 10 to 20, 15 to 25 miles an hour. Slightly cooler on Saturday. We'll say 86 for a high, but then back to the upper 80s for Sunday and Monday. Again, we'll keep an eye on a small chance for some moisture today. If we do see anything, I don't think it'll amount to more than just a few sprinkles. And then a small chance, 20% for maybe an isolated shower or thunderstorm Saturday and Sunday. We'll keep an eye on that as well. 10-day forecast for select cities across the state looks like this, and it is dominated by above average temperatures through the next really 9 days or so. As we look ahead at the long range forecast, mid to late next week, again, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the 18th, 19th, 20th, again, staying above average, but then trending a little bit cooler. This is 10 days out, but by next Friday, the 20th, again, long-range models have highs generally in the low 70s to low 80s. By the 20th, the average high in Lincoln is 79. So even if we had a high of 80, this is 10 days out. So the chances of this being right on day 10 certainly aren't great, but even 80 degrees for a high on Friday would be an above-average high temperature by at least a degree. So again, above-average temperatures headlining the forecast over the next week to 10 days. The 8 to 14-day temperature outlook, this takes us September 17th through September 23rd, continues to be headlined by above-average temperatures. Again, well above average odds for above-average temperatures across much of the Midwest during that time frame. But again, the precipitation outlook also is favoring above average precip during that outlook, that time frame as well. So again, hopefully that means we can get some decent moisture across the area. Also matches up well if we look at our hazards for that 8 to 14 day temperature or 8 to 14 day outlook. Nothing for excessive heat. So again, while we're going to be dealing with above average temperatures, not necessarily going to be dealing with excessive heat. So that is good news. Heavy precipitation, again, it's covered up. But again, some areas along the Gulf Coast, but we also have that area across the northern plains. Again, pattern change signals in the long-range models that we could be dealing with some moisture heading our way. Likely not this week, but potentially next week, and that's something we'll keep a close eye on. As far as rapid onset of drought, good news is the long-range outlook doesn't have any areas that we'd be concerned about with that. No heavy snow just yet. Again, that'll be changing sooner rather than later. And then high winds. So again, it looks like as we head through potentially the week next week, could potentially continue this run of breezy conditions. And again, that's not a surprise. Again, as we transition from summer into winter, we are now in meteorological fall, so we're in that transition season. This is a time of year when we'd start to see those winds generally pick up just a little bit as we have those fighting air masses across the country. So again, that's also something that we'll keep an eye on, is the potential for some breezy conditions continuing, again, not only today and over the next couple days, but even into the week next week. So went a little bit longer than I usually do today. Again, we talked about a lot, so appreciate everyone for tuning in and watching. Again, we're live right now on 1011's platforms, which means we're live on the 1011 website on our tertiary stream. Currently, we're in Pierre, Nebraska, so if you punched up the live stream right now for 1011 on the website, you could either watch Pierre, Nebraska with John and Taryn Vanderford and Brad Anderson. You could watch us here. You could also watch local news live. A ton of different stuff you can watch on that page. We're also live, again, if you got a Roku app, Apple TV, Fire TV, Samsung TV, any of those devices, we're live on there as well. We're also live on the 1011 YouTube channel. And so, again, if you're on that YouTube channel, I'd ask you to like and subscribe, turn on those notifications. We do a ton of different stuff, again, live from the streaming desk throughout the day. Today, a little bit of a lighter day on the calendar, though, but yesterday we streamed Supreme Court hearings, we had police briefings, had a segment with the Better Business Bureau. Today, we have obviously this in the morning. Not much else through the rest of the day, though, but again, that can obviously change with breaking news. We got Crime Stoppers tomorrow, End Report Husker Show, Sports Director Kevin Suits tomorrow. We got Weather Academy on Thursday, Star City Buzz on Thursday. Danielle Shank's going to have a segment, I think, with Flatwater Free Press sometime this week. So, again, a ton of different stuff happening from the streaming desk. So, again, you got to make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel to kind of keep up with all the latest comings and goings from the streaming desk. So appreciate everyone for tuning in and watching as always. I hope everyone has a nice Tuesday. And again, as always, keep it tuned to 1011 both on air and online for all of your latest news, weather, and sports.